Well, it's a big day today when I've got my orange hoodie on. Woo! An orange hood video. So last video we were talking about how wealth is a subconscious conviction on the part of the individual. Wealth is a subconscious conviction. And I mentioned that this is something that you hear, said in similar ways throughout a lot of New Thought material. But the first thing that came to mind in regards to that line, wealth is a subconscious conviction, is a short pamphlet by Raymond Charles Barker called Money is God in Action. Here it is, just this little green pamphlet. Money is God in Action. Great short little pamphlet. Brian Scott did a good audio version that I'll link above if I can find it, a year or two ago on his Reality Revolution YouTube channel, which is a wonderful channel. I don't know if I've ever given Brian a shout out before for just, he's done an amazing job over the years of just, sharing so much new thought and, cool new age material that you might never have heard of. And one of those things that a lot of people have probably never heard of is this small pamphlet, Money is God in Action. Raymond Charles Barker really summates this idea of wealth being a subconscious conviction very well in this pamphlet. So we're going to get back to Joseph Murphy and the power of your subconscious mind probably next video. But I thought I would quote a few things from, or just read a couple passages from this book because or pamphlet, because it's so powerful. In it, he literally says the same thing, that like wealth is a subconscious conviction. This pamphlet's like 10 pages long. And the first couple pages, to be frank, are like very esoteric and like speculative, theoretical, in my opinion, almost irrelevant. But then he gets into the meat of what he's saying, Barker does, and it's really fantastic advice. One thing he mentions early on that we often hear in regards to like, a new thought approach to inner wealth, is this idea of circulation, that everything circulates. And like what you give out comes back to you. What you bring in, you must give out. It's, money is a symbol, currency is a symbol of this perpetual circulation that's going on in our life. You don't have to like buy that or, believe that on like a literal level, but like on a psychological level, if you notice it more, I think you'll really start to believe that aspect of our psychology, that money is not this physical hard thing that stays in one place. Money moves, money moves. You hear that all the time in regards to these new thought teachings about inner abundance and inner wealth. And I think it's a fundamental point of what they're talking about, and I find it valid. So once again, this is about the idea of like supply and abundance and wealth being an inner quality, not something that like we get from the outside world, but we bring out the idea and the virtue of supply from ourselves in the same way that we can bring out things like humility or courage. Like these are virtues that we bring out from within ourselves. Supply is an inner quality in such a way. Again, Joel Goldsmith speaks about this very well. I'll link above again to that podcast episode we did about that. So in Money is God in Action, Raymond Charles Barker writes, the universe is saying to the mind of man that if he will be wise in his use of money, if he will be receptive to the idea of money, he will have money. For no good thing is withheld from those who love God. And money is good, but you have to believe that money is good. So correct your thought about money. I've already like linking to all these different videos in this video, which is kind of absurd. But I've spoken about this before. I will put another link above. If you can simply change your perception and feelings about money so you start to feel better about money, if you can change your relationship with money so you don't look at it so fearfully or antagonistically, and look at it more in a friendly manner, or even dare I say it, a loving manner, and see money as a good thing, not as a bad thing, you know, you are going to feel more abundant. That's just how things work. I've been working on a book about this now for like a year and a half, and I keep on changing it and editing it because it's such a nuanced topic. That's one reason I'm doing these videos now, because I want to share some of this information with you before this final book is published, because it's taking me longer than I thought. But a lot of the information I'm going to share is the same as what I've shared for years. But this is a fundamental point. Again, no good thing is withheld from those who love God, and money is good, but you have to believe that money is good. So correct your thought about money. That line, money is the root of all evil. It's really the love of money is the root of all evil. But even that line is a bad line. It's interpreted incorrectly. The love of money is the root of all evil. Well, let me tell you, that line is fucking bullshit. You should love money. You should love money. That would be my recommendation. Love money. If you genuinely love money, you are altruistic and compassionate with money and with your treatment of money with other people. The issue is people treat their money like shit. And that's why they hoard it. That's why they exploit other people for it. They don't treat it well. If you lovingly treat money like a friend, like a partner, like a child, if you lead it, it's a much fucking better relationship. You should love money. The love of money is not the root of all evil. You should love money. And I'm not a business guy or big entrepreneur or anything like that. Fuck all that shit. I'm like Raymond Charles Barker. He was like a minister, like a spiritual dude. I'm saying you want to love money. You want to treat it lovingly. You want to treat it as a friend. That is how to bring out this quality of wealth within you. In the same way you would bring out things like humility, or patience, or what, all these good virtues, courage. Barker writes, he says, next, we must be willing to live in a state of financial flux. We must be willing to live in a state of financial flexibility and meet it without fear. If we can do that, we will have more money. Again, money circulating. It's going up and down. We're not always going to have the same amount. It's not like we just stack it on top of each other. That's not how this actually works. Especially if we're not, particularly business-minded or entrepreneurial, we'd be wise to learn to live with a state of flux, with that sometimes there's going to be more, sometimes there's going to be less, sometimes there's going to be more, there's going to be less, and that's all good. We still love money. It's still our friend. Barker says, if we can do that, we will have more money. If only there were doctors of money, as there are doctors of bodies and doctors of the mind. For we need to be reminded often that we must be flexible in money matters. We must be flexible. That's like why Jim Rohn, he said, like, there's different seasons, seasons of, money, you could say, in terms of money coming and going. And that's all good. Money's your friend. Money's not evil. Money's not the problem. The problem, if there's a problem, is how shittily people treat money and how fucking dumb they are about it a lot of the time. The problem is not the money itself. Start loving money. When the barometer on our bank account goes down, it is merely an indication that it will go up again if we remain open to the idea of money. Remaining open to the idea of money is loving God, recognizing money is good, and the believing that money is good. Barker says you must sell yourself on money as a spiritual idea until it becomes an automatic subconscious pattern with you. I'm going to read that again because it's so important. You must sell yourself on money as a spiritual idea until it becomes an automatic subconscious pattern with you. You will find that the people who have the greatest freedom in money are the people who no longer have to think about money. They have arrived at a subconscious conviction that they will always have it. There's that line. They have arrived at a subconscious conviction that they will always have it. That's the work. That's the work we're doing. Is cultivating a subconscious conviction that we have wealth, that supply is actually an inner quality. And that takes inner work. That's not an overnight thing, at least for most people you're ever going to meet. That takes work. There are not many good examples of that you are going to see in our culture. There are far, far, far more people in your life, far more adults in your life expressing lack, saying that money's not a good thing, saying that there's problems with money, thinking they don't have enough, not recognizing the abundance they have within them all the time. We have to work on realizing money is good and correct our thoughts about money. Barker goes on to write, and these people who have arrived at a subconscious conviction that they always have money, they always do have money because they are subjectively convinced of the fact. The people who have trouble in regard to money have not yet convinced themselves that they can live in this world and have the freedom and use of money. I do not mean millions of dollars. I mean enough to live more than comfortably. Again, this isn't about being this millionaire businessman, entrepreneur. This is about being you and being more comfortable with money. Building that subconscious conviction. I'm going to read this portion again. You must sell yourself on money as a spiritual idea until it becomes an automatic subconscious pattern with you. You will find that the people who have the greatest freedom in money are the people who no longer have to think about money. They have arrived at a subconscious conviction that they will always have it. And they always do have money because they are subjectively convinced of the fact. Very, very powerful advice from Raymond Charles Barker. And I think I might do another video on this short pamphlet before we go back to the Murphy chapter because it's very helpful. All right. Any questions, let me know. RadicalCounselor.com. Enjoy.